Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl, and today I'm here to bring you a spoiler-free review for Dead Until Dark by Charlaine Harris. Once again, lighting shit. It's grumpy? It's gloomy outside, and so not really much I can do about it, so we're just gonna roll with it. But yes, this book. I have a lot of thoughts about this book, none of which are particularly good. I'm just going to preface this by saying that I gave this book a 1.5 out of 5 stars. So if you don't want to hear me talk negatively about this book, it's probably not the video for you. But like I said, this will be spoiler free just because it's how I do things here on my channel. Alright, so first and foremost, this is not a spoiler because it says it on the back blurb. The main character, oh god, what is her name even? Sookie. The main character, Sookie, refers to herself as disabled. Now, let me just start with the beginning. Okay, so this basically takes place in a small town in Louisiana, and in this universe, vampires are known to exist. They are just there. There's artificial blood now that they can take. There's vampire hotels. There's a whole, cult of vampire fanatics that always follow the vampires around as they go to their various nightclubs. So they are established creatures in this universe. And the main character, all she's wanted is to meet a vampire. And so she is a waitress at a local bar, and one day a vampire comes in, and she just is like, oh my god, look, it's a vampire! And yeah, the story kind of starts from there. So getting back to what I was saying before, the main character refers to herself as disabled because she is able to read minds. I have a big problem with that because it makes me super uncomfortable, and I don't know if I can really pinpoint why it makes me uncomfortable, except for that's not a disability, that's not a hindrance, and it wouldn't be so bad if she would hug her brother in front of patrons, especially in front of other girls, so that her brother could get points for hugging a disabled person. That is a line in the book, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's not a disability. That's just something you can do. In a world that has vampires and the occult established, is it really that hard to believe that she would be able to read minds, and more than that it wouldn't be considered a disability? Not that disabilities are hindrances or anything like that, but that's just, it was inappropriate to me more than anything, and it made me really uncomfortable, especially because it continued throughout the entire book. Every time the I'm disabled popped up, I was like, can you not? But yeah, beyond that, I don't really find anything redeemable about the story. The only reason I gave it a 1.5 as opposed to a 1 star is just because I did want to know what happened throughout the story, because it does become a murder mystery, and I wanted to know who the killer was, and so, yeah, that's the only reason I finished the book at all, because the writing in this was juvenile at best. And I don't mean juvenile in the sense of middle grade or anything like that. I meant juvenile in the sense that it felt like she wrote it, didn't proofread it at all, didn't edit it at all, and just published it. There was just so many cringy lines, the grammar didn't flow at all, and it just overall was really shitty writing. And because of that, I did not appreciate this book as much as I maybe could have. If the writing had been spectacular, I might have been able to overlook some of the flaws of the book, but because it was bad and it was flawed, I just didn't get it. I'm also not a huge vampire person, but I feel like that wasn't what detracted the ratings from this book. It was the book itself. Now, I don't know if this was her first published book, and maybe I should cut her some slack, because it is hard to write a book, but she has a character, and I'm not going to say anything about who it is or who the character's talking to for spoiler reasons, but she has a character that basically tells another character that they just need to get over the fact that they were molested when they were 5. And that character who said that line, was not a bad guy. Was not a negative, you were supposed to be appalled at the character for saying that. They were a good guy. They got redeemed. They were a pleasant character. They were liked throughout the entire book. They were a good person. And so seeing that line made it so much worse, because I guess it would be one thing if a villain said that line, but for someone, a respectable character in this book, in this series, to say something like that is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. I almost DNF'd the book when I got to that line because I was so appalled at that concept, at that idea that a character who is not a bad guy could say, you just need to get over being molested, especially as a child. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. You are not a good person if you say something like that. Rant over. But overall, characters were really shitty. Sookie was whiny and annoying, never made right decisions. She was idealized in the beginning for being a virgin, and there was so much like slut shaming and so much just terrible, fairly racist and homophobic comments at times from both the main character and like side characters, and I just did not appreciate that or really anything about this book, to be honest. It idealized terrible, abusive, possessive relationships, as seems to be a common trend with vampires. I'm looking at you, Twilight, but I didn't like the fact that basically the main love interest was more or less just a stick in the mud. He didn't do anything. He didn't have really any personality. He was just there. But more than that, he was kind of possessive and abusive, like, emotionally. And she was just like, this is great. This is what every relationship should be. And that's not true at all. I forgot to mention, when I was talking about the bad writing, there were so many unnecessary, mundane details included in this book. Like, that kind of goes to where I don't feel like it was proofread or edited at all, because there's a scene where the main character is cleaning her house, and you get to read about every single thing she did. She wiped down the door frames, she wiped down the furniture, she polished the furniture, she dust mopped, then she regular mopped, then she wiped down the blinds, then she wiped down the windowsills, then she vacuumed the couches, then she washed the curtains. Like, literally every single thing she did was included, and that's how the writing was throughout the entire book. There was just so many unnecessary, mundane details that really bogged down the story that I feel like, honestly, this book could have probably been half the size if you just went from, like, plot alone, because so many stupid, unnecessary details about these characters and their life. Like, I don't fucking care that the vampire dude bought his brown pants at Dillard's. Like, I don't care. And so, for that to be included, I was just like, why? But yes, overall, the only reason I picked this one up is because I had read Nevernight? No. It's because I read Mistborn, and I wanted to read Nevernight, but I knew both of those were going to be kind of heavy, intense books, so I wanted something kind of light and trashy to read in between, but little did I know that this book was just going to be trash instead. It had been on my shelf forever. I only got it for 50 cents. I do not feel bad about not liking this book, and I do not feel bad about unhauling this book later on, because it was shit. So anyway, that is my spoiler-free review, sort of, I guess, for Dead Until Dark by Charlaine Harris. If you cannot tell, do not intend to continue the series. Will not watch True Blood, the spin-off, even though I've heard that they're not very similar. Either way, do not want to support this author. The book was shit. That's all I can say. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next video.